Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 14 of our commentary for Banjo-Kazooie. Last time we completed Mad Monster Mansion, and today the day has finally come to venture into what is considered the most challenging level of the game, Rusty Bucket Bay.
So, I recently watched a speedrun of this game.
Oh yeah?
And even speedrunners say this is like, oh,
Damn!
nice. Speedrunners say this level is like make or break a run. You can really mess up, like just positioning, forgetting to get something.
Which version were they doing?
They were doing the original, the N64.
Okay. Well, that explains it. I've never seen a speedrun of this game, so forgive my filthy casual perspective, but the issue that I and other people have always had with this, it's kind of like the water temple in Ocarina of Time 64 versus 3D, where it's not really the level that's at fault for the frustration so much as just the game mechanics. Because as we stated in several previous episodes, I think, you can, in the N64 version, you lose all of your notes collected in a world upon dying, and you have to start collecting them again in order to like exceed your previous note score. The problem with Rusty Bucket Bay is that this level is one of the few levels in the game that actually has like insta-kill pits in it.
Oh yeah.
So if you... Basically, the strat for this level is to, and I'm failing to do so right now because I've forgotten my way around, but as soon as you enter, you want to go to the place with the bottomless pit and collect all of the notes there first, and then do the rest of the level, because it is not only is there a bottomless pit, but it's very easy to fall into it if you don't understand like the mechanics of how like the platforming bits work. Yeah.
This ship is frightening.
By the way, I didn't know till forever that you could break these windows.
Yeah, me either.
What?
That's another thing well, see, I feel like the whole, like, lose all your notes when you die thing
Hey,
wouldn't...
look at that guy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Spondooey.
I wish.
Banjo-Spondooey.
The crossover we never got, unfortunately.
Oh, look at that goblin.
But yeah, you mentioned the windows, Ethan. I feel like that's part of why this level feels so punishing in the original version, is because, you know, a lot of these little nooks and crannies you have to go into have notes in them, and if you die, you have to, like, go back into all of them again and collect all of the notes again. And this is a pretty elaborate world, so, like...
That would be really frustrating.
Yeah, it took me a couple of hundred, or not a couple hundred hours.
No. A couple of hundred of them.
It took me a couple hours the first time I played this game to like 100% this world, just because I died so many times. And I finally found it, the engine room. Oh wait, no, I didn't. There's something else I have to do first.
This is like a Metroid Fusion map. Like there are just secrets in places that you would not think to look.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell which windows are breakable, because the tell is that the highlights on them are more vivid, whereas the unbreakable ones, you know, they just look kind of dull. Like, they look like background objects.
You keep forgetting to get the ones up on that ledge. Thank you. Oh my god. No!
Sorry.
No! Go back!
See, I'm so intently focused on finding the engine room that I can't... Or the room... See, the engine room is filled with, like, these fans that impede your platforming, and what I'm trying to do now is to find a separate room that, like, slows them down, so that you can proceed a little more safely. See, that's another problem, is that, like, your first time going into the engine room, you might not know that, and so you would, like... You know, you might have collected like half of the notes on the level. You go in and you die, and suddenly it's like, wait, I just, like, what even is this room? How do I get past this?
I would not have thought to avoid the burners.
I like that the fridge has a tiny little one of those slug things.
Yeah, just a little baby boy.
How's he even there? There's like nothing on the other side.
Is that the only time in this game that an enemy is just, like, made bigger or smaller?
I'm not sure, but
Is his
it's
name
just one of the many wonderful features of Rusty Bucket Bay.
Is his name Sluglet?
It is now. But yeah, I bring up the water temple comparison just because, you know, in the 3DS version, they changed the way the iron boots work to where, you know, it's just a button press as opposed to having to slowly go into the menu and equip them and unequip them every time you need to float up or down in the water. And it's similar. I find it to be a similar case here where Rusty Bucket Bay doesn't really stick out as much as a hard level when your notes stay collected, because it's just like, oh, it's just another level where you happen to die a little bit more, but it's not like this ungodly, tense challenge anymore.
God. Like, he's like Gyarados. He just has his mouth open. He just looks intimidating. I don't feel safe.
We need like a Pokemon Stadium mod that replaces Gyarados with that. With that pipe from Banjo-Kazooie, yeah. Everybody's in on that joke.
Hey, the N64 crowd all bought the same 12 games.
Yeah. Those are the ones I have, at least.
Every
I never
NBA
did
game.
get Pokemon Stadium 2, though.
Ooh, that's the one where you could use your own Pokemon for the minigames.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you caught, like, alternate Pokemon in your game, you could import them and use different Pokemon for the minigames.
Oh, neat. See, I got the original Pokemon Stadium like years after the fact. I want to say in like 2005 was when I got my secondhand N64, and like that and Snap were the only games I had for it. So it was just like, and I didn't have the transfer pack either, so I was just kind of like beating my head against the wall trying to win those tournaments with like the crappy rental Pokemon that they give you.
The rental Pokemon
That was
is terrible.
great.
Although they do know weird moves.
Yeah.
Like, can't Diglett like somehow learn Fly, or was that like a mod?
I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that, but I have heard something of that ilk about Stadium, so I'm gonna choose to believe that yes, Diglett can learn Fly in that game. So here we are in the infamous engine room. As you can see, we are surrounded by a giant bottomless pit and platforming across these. Well, the really tricky part here is these like rotating walkways you have to go across. Not the not like the ones. Shoot, what am I trying to say? Not like the zigzaggy ones, the big cylindrical ones. Because it can be really deceptive when you stand on them, how long you can be there before you slip off, especially when they're like moving slowly. You still like rocket off the side if you stand on there more than a couple of frames.
So this looks a lot like the Great Bay Temple from Majora's Mask. I can't get that out of my...
Good dungeon there.
Yeah.
Machinery and gears going.
It's my favorite dungeon of the game.
Gears. Yeah, we like Gears here at GCG.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
Gears.
We're contractually obligated to love anything with gears.
I got a feeling there'll be more gears in our future.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Made out of various materials.
Mm-hmm. But not metal, though. That would just be absurd.
Oh, so the propeller to go get the Jiggy on the outside is on a timer?
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is just the cherry on top of the sundae here. Like, in addition to navigating this room and like getting all the notes without dying, you then also have to go outside, swim under the ship into an area where like the area where that Jiggy is, those propellers will kill you instantly once they reactivate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even matter if you have air. Like, they just kill you.
Well, and the water is poisonous because it's covered in oil.
Right.
Also, the propellers can still kill you after you get the Jiggy and you're like inside. if time runs out. So you could get the Jiggy and then just die anyway and lose all your notes. You keep the Jiggy, but you lose your notes.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
I think what I always do in the N64 version is I just go for this one first as like a mulligan, and then go back and get all the notes.
Oh no.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Well, you still have
Dead
it.
Joe.
Still got it though.
At least we're on the Xbox version.
They can't.
Right.
They can't take it away from us. So now we get to. So now the level becomes more fun because we don't have to worry about that anymore. Dan, I don't know if you still stand by this, but I remember you telling me at one point that Rusty Bucket Bay was your favorite musical piece in the game. Is that still true?
It might be. I do really like it.
I mean, it's a good song, but I mean, every song in this game's good, so.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, this kind of falls into the category of, like, Clanker's Cavern or, like, Bubble Gloop Swamp, where it's like, yeah, they're good songs, but, like, they're kind of like the... You know, in a game where, like, every song is good, like, they're just kind of, like, middle of the road. But, again, that might be just me. Your mileage may vary.
God, this level is so cruel.
Uh-huh. Yeah, your air doesn't refill when you surface. You have to be standing on something for, like, a certain length of time, too. So if you jump onto a platform with, like, hazards that you have to avoid by jumping, then, you know, you might not get your air back if you didn't have much going back onto land.
Yeah, it's crude oil.
Yeah.
I guess
I like this
it makes
part of the
sense.
song.
How crude.
It makes sense to me that this level is an endgame level. 'Cause, like,
Well, certainly.
It is definitely quite a bit harder than the ones beforehand.
Uh-huh. I think that's part of the... What feels kind of off about this level is just this... Up until this point, there have been, like, individual jiggies that were challenging, but I'd say this is the first level that really feels like it has your number. And kind of the only one, to be honest. Like, the next world after this is, like... It's kind of a gauntlet, and it's a lot more complicated than the other levels, but it isn't nearly as, like, aggressively trying to kill you as Rusty Bucket Bay is.
Well, Rusty Bucket Bay, it's not only trying to kill you, it's kind of, like, big and disjointed, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even in Tui, honestly, I can't think of another level that's, like, this dangerous to navigate. Although I might be misremembering. Because again, like we've said, in Tui, the challenge is more about, like, the complexity of the level design and, like, what abilities you have, as opposed to, like doing a challenge.
Is this one a lot more, like, platformer heavy, whereas that one's more challenge heavy?
It's the second one's definitely more puzzle heavy, whereas this one, like we've said, is a lot more just like you do a thing, you get a jiggy. You just kind of like go around the level in a big circle and collect everything, whereas in Tui you're like zigzagging back and forth, like as you like slowly work towards your goals.
Tie your shoes. Get a moon.
Wash your hands.
Get a moon.
God.
Yeah, not quite as reward happy as Mario Odyssey, but
No.
Oh, who's this lovely fish?
By the way, that was A-okay with me. I never had an issue with that, but I know some people do. I feel like if you're the kind of person who would like get annoyed at how easily Mario Odyssey gives you moons, like you're probably gonna go for 100% anyway, or at least for like the 500 moons you need for that final level. So like, I'm not sure why it's a big deal that there are easy moons to get. Yeah, Snacker is backer.
How come he doesn't get affected by the oil?
Snacker is a Patreon backer.
But well, thank you, Snacker.
I can't get through this hole in this fence.
We don't even have a Patreon. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
No,
We ain't about to get one. We ain't about to get one anytime soon.
Hey Spielberg, we're gonna make sure that you're the first donator because we made this joke about Jaws in this episode.
Oh.
Yeah, we know you're listening, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. Spielbergio.
Senor Spielbergo. Yeah, we saw your Mr. Burns film and were really moved by it, so...
Oh, you're not.
How'd you feel about making GCG the movie?
The movie!
God.
Wait, this is...
Imagine that. We only have like 10 subscribers, but then we sink all this money into making a GCG movie because we're just like that confident that people will want to see it.
I mean, of course they will, Dan. Why would there be any question?
At least 30 people. God, what are these green slime monsters? Why are they always
They're
around?
bad guys. Banjo's got to put a stop to their evil ways.
They're always around water.
Well, I mean, Mad Monster Mansion didn't have a whole lot of water in it.
Oh, I guess they were there.
Well, it had
Didn't
the
it?
toilet.
Oh wait, no,
It had
that's
the
why they.
skeleton guys.
Yeah, that's why they were skeletons, because they were dehydrated. Their bodies evaporated.
Oh god.
You know, in spite of the being kind of convoluted and difficult compared to the other levels, I still really do like Rusty Bucket Bay's little individual areas. It does a good job of like feeling like a place,
Yeah.
and that's to be admired in a game like this, I think.
It's like because of all of the stuff about it, I feel like it like takes that level to like memorable status.
Well, and this is largely a personal preference thing, but part of the reason why I've never been able to get into like Mario 64 as much as this game is because I just do personally put a lot more weight on like games presenting like a consistent and like believable world. And to be fair, Banjo did have like the benefit of 2 extra like years of N64 development to realize its world, but I don't know, it just seemed like it was more of a priority for this game than it was for that.
Just drags the anchor right through the dolphin.
Yeah, that always made me, could they have animated that a little better? Like, that dolphin is, like, disemboweled after that.
He has a proper tail.
Yeah.
That's the first proper dolphin we've had.
They got one of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, you know what? Rare's not at fault. That was Kingdom Hearts' fault for having a freaking, like, freak of nature dolphin fish. Really? Okay, there he goes.
I'm laughing because I just like saw that episode a couple days ago. I'm really behind on. Also, I love the filter here. Where like on the side, yeah, the sides
Yes.
where it's like not covered.
Yeah, it looks like certain episodes of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, we got another dark filter over the screen.
What
I think
do
you
you
mean the
mean?
grayscale
Oh
lens.
crap! Was I not supposed to say that?
No, it's just a running joke because Trey put a crappy he recorded it wrong and put a crappy like color correction filter over the screen.
I don't
That
think
just-
he recorded it wrong. He just didn't know how to color correct it properly.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Oh.
Like
I thought the recording like hardware
No.
screwed up somehow.
That was me this time. That's what happens when you get amateur video editors.
Speaking of colors, I like how this game color like codes things, like putting the green Jinjo in the green toxic goo area, and like
Oh yeah, or like in Gobi's Valley, there was a yellow Jinjo like on a rock in the sand pit.
yeah, or generally like putting notes in places with yellow and eggs in places with blue, red feathers in places with red. Like how Gobi's Valley put notes in the sand and eggs in the water.
Oh
And
yeah.
The classic alternating between notes and red feathers on the scarf of the snowman in Freeze's EP.
Yeah, that's one I always remembered.
Okay. Enemies that explode themselves will always be entertaining to me.
Like somewhere Electrode is looking down on them and saying, "You've done well, my boy."
Yeah, do you think Pokemon, like wild Pokemon that use self-destruct, but like they do it on the turn that you flee, do you think they still explode after you're gone?
If an Electrode explodes in the forest, does it make an explosion?
Mystery explosion. God.
Gigantamax move for Electrode.
I feel like
Just
you've
nuke.
Do it, Game Freak, you cowards.
I feel like you've walked all over this level and you still don't have all the notes.
I haven't really explored the ship all that much, to be
Yeah.
honest.
He's pretty.
Still quite a few things. I think I've been around most of it, but I haven't like completed a lot of the objectives just because I was so dead set on finding the control room to slow down the engines.
Yeah.
This level pretty much has you do a lap around the perimeter of the level, and just going around the ship is like two separate things.
That just gave me a heart attack. I don't like these enemies anymore.
It's okay, Trey. We'll only have to see them for.
Jesus.
Well, I guess we do have another full
worry.
episode of this level.
Don't worry, Trey.
Did anybody
It's-
else how there was like a fanfare noise when I got blasted out the door?
Yeah, I noticed it.
Like, what happened? How does the game register that as a good thing?
Those enemies not only explode, they also have creepy teeth.
Maybe there was a fanfare for all the enemies in the room dying.
Maybe.
Congratulations, you murderer!
Banjo-Kazooie genocide route.
Kill the
I didn't
animals.
know that was possible.
We got a donation from Kazooie Lover 12 saying, "Keep up the good work and save the animals."
Well, I appreciate your contribution, friend, but it's a little late for the whole saving the animals thing. I mean,
It said they donated on the Patreon for the movie.
Vote to save the crates.
If we
Save
use
the
I
crates.
hope they
Save
don't
the
watch
crates.
I hope they don't watch the Gobi's Valley episodes. I hate this for them to see what we did to Gobi.
If we use the random donation generator, 9 times out of 10, all the donations will be from Germany.
Yeah. So generous, those Germans.
Yeah.
That's because Germany is all robots.
You're gonna have to explain that one, Dan.
I don't know. The AIs are all coming from Germany. That's the only explanation I have. If the AI generator making all these random things that say they're from Germany, that means they must really be from Germany, and it's from actual robots in the
You
real
think
world.
AIs would lie? It can't. It's part of their data.
Yeah,
They can't lie.
computers can't lie. It's one of the laws of computers.
It's part of the computer code.
It's the fourth one. Look it up.
I still have no idea what these guys are talking about, but join us next time for the conclusion of Rusty Bucket Bay.
Bye.